Today, we're playing a $500 tournament. It's the very first tournament of the Wynn Millions series, so let's go get a trophy, baby! While I head inside, I've got a quick announcement. Jesse and I will be co-hosting a meetup game at Triple Barrel Social Club. It's a brand new poker room located in Franklin, Kentucky. So if you guys can make the trip out, we'll be playing 2-5 on Friday night and a tournament on Saturday. So I hope to see you guys there. Today we start with 25,000 in chips, and I hope you guys are proud because I technically made it in time for level 1, and you know me, this is as on time as it gets, people. I don't even have time to zoom out on my camera. We're getting involved right away. First hand dealt, I get ace-9 suited under the gun and open it up to 600. Under the gun 1, snap calls, and the big blind comes in with a 3-bet to 1,800. It wasn't that big, so I decided to flick in the call, even though a lot of the times I'm gonna be dominated. At least I got position on him. Under the gun 1 also makes the call, so we're already in a 3-way, 3-bet pot. The dealer puts out Queen Jack 9 Rainbow. So when big blind checks, I'm also going to check. Under the gun 1, snap throws out 3,000 in chips, and once big blind calls, I'm out of there. I only included this hand to show you guys how after even one showdown, you can start adjusting to your opponents at the table. It only takes one hand. The guy to my right, for example, showed down pocket 10s. He was the 3-better pre-flop. He went on the smaller side. If he goes bigger in the future, I can put him on a more polarized range. The guy to my left showed down 10-8 of hearts. He's on the looser side, calling my under the gun open and overcalling a 3-bet with that hand. So that tells me in the future, if I c-bet and he calls, I might want to be double barrel or even triple barreling off some of his loose holdings. All right, blinds up now, 200, 400. So when I look down at ace queen of diamonds under the gun, I raise it up to 800, and the button and the small blind both make the call. So 3 ways we all see the king 6-5 2 diamond flop. Small blind checks to me, and on a king high board, I'm going to be c-betting a lot. But now that we have the nut flush draw, we've got a good backup plan just in case. So I toss out a small 900 chip c-bet, button folds, and small blind flicks in the call. The turn is a 10 of clubs. So now we also pick up a Broadway draw. And when small blind checks, I've got all this equity. I am definitely going to throw out a meaty bet. So I go 3,000 into a pot of 5,000. Small blind doesn't take too long before sliding his cards into the muck. Next hand, I'm in the small blind with 10-3 of diamonds and decide to make the call. The big blind checks his option and tells me,
probably gonna win this, just saying.
Okay.
Unless I get lucky.
So with that bit of info, we both see the 7-6-4 2 heart flop. Not much going for me. I've got the bad end of a gutter and a backdoor flush draw, so I'm going to try to toss out a bet and just steal it. So I put out 600, and the big blind, it doesn't go anywhere. He makes the call rather quickly. Dealer puts out the king of hearts on the turn. We don't pick up any equity, and the main draw gets there, so we're going to wave the white flag with a check. My opponent quickly checks it back. So we both see the 7 of clubs on the river. If I didn't think that turn was bad, I definitely think this river is terrible. So I could consider turning this hand into a bluff. I just think it's so likely that one of these 2 cards on turn and river hit him. So I decide, again, I'm going to give up. I check. He doesn't think too long before checking back, and I declare I have 10 high.
You bluffed too. Look at that. I think you're gonna win. At least I had a chance.
And somehow, it is good. He showed up with 8 deuce of clubs. He also decided that these cards looked pretty scary and didn't want to turn his hand into a bluff. So we take it down with 10 high. It just goes to show you should always flip your hand over, even if you have a pretty bad holding. Don't send your cards into the muck. Just show it down with pride. You might win, even though you didn't think you would. Oh my gosh, my table is just full of characters today. This is going to be a fun one. After break, we pick up pocket queens under the gun 1. We make it 1,200 to go. Low jack calls, and now the big blind 3-bets to 4,800. He goes 4x my open. This is more in line with a standard 3-bet sizing from the big. Even though this guy has been playing really in line, I think that with my stack size, there's nothing left to do but rip it in. We've talked about this before, that sometimes I play a little cautiously with queens and I just call, put myself in a really tough spot post-flop. I've learned my lesson, so we're all in. 22,000 in the middle, low jack folds, And when big blind snap calls, I don't feel great about it until he flips over ace king offsuit. So best case scenario, I think, when he just snap calls like that, he didn't even think twice. So we've got a flip situation. Let's see if we can hold. And when the 9 rolls off on the river, we secure the double up and win the biggest pot of the day so far. Next time I'm in the hijack, I get queen 10 offsuit and decide to raise it up to 1200. Guy in the cutoff makes the call. He's the guy that has the looser range that we talked about in the first hand. The flop comes out 993 rainbow. Like I said earlier, my plan against this opponent was to double barrel him off of his weaker holdings pre-flop. But on this type of texture, unless I hit exactly a queen, jack, or 10 on the turn, I'm most likely going to be giving up because this hand is really, really weak. So instead, I decided to size up with my c-bet on this flop texture, trying to accomplish a similar thing that a double barrel would on a different type of board. So I make it 1500. He is undeterred, flicks in the call. The turn is a 4 diamonds. So I slow down with a check, and my opponent does the same. Then we both see the ace of diamonds on the river. I see a window of opportunity here, so I decided to bluff at this card. After calling the flop, even though we could have pocket pairs or ace high holding, I think that if he does have a pocket pair, I maybe could get him off of it by bluffing on this card. So I put out 3,500 into a 7K pot. He doesn't think too long and makes the call because he has ace 10 offsuit. Dominated the whole way. He hits a gin card on the river where I don't get to bluff him off of that particular hand. So unfortunately, he scoops in that one. And now is about the time that I found out that when my card protector / fidget spinner gets spun in the exact right order and the exact right speed at the perfect level of my internal boredom, the poker gods reward me with a pocket pair. Folds all the way around to me, so we're going to open up pocket 9s on the button, making it 1600 to go. Big blind comes along, he seems to be a reg, and we both see the king 10-8 2 club flop. With 2 overs out there and I've got showdown value, I decided to check this one back. Both of us see the 7 of hearts turn. My immediate reaction is, ooh, this turn looks promising. But then my opponent bets 3,000 into a pot of 4,400. Now there's 2 flush draws out there. So if I do hit a straight on the river that happens to bring in one of those flushes, I might be a little bit confused as to whether I'm actually ahead or not by the river. So it looks less promising now, but I decide to make maybe what you could consider a stubborn call. I just was thinking, well, there are a few draws out there. Maybe he'll give up once I call this turn. I don't know. How do you guys rate this? How stubborn is this call? Either way, that's what we do. And then the 2 of us see the queen of hearts on the river. Big blind only has 8,000 behind and he stakes the rest of that money into the middle. Obviously, we're going to fold at this point, but it was really that turn decision that I'm curious about. What do you guys think? Then we take a sharp left turn into Card Dead City, where you can perfect the art of folding or question every single life decision that led you to this moment. Snapping out of that existential crisis, we realize that we are in 600, 1200 level. Blinds are huge. I've only got less than 20 in my stack, and the hijack opens to 3,000. So he goes 2.5x, which is slightly larger than the usual min raise that you see in tournaments. I'm on the button with ace 7 suited. With this stack size, I mean, this is perfectly in the middle between. You could call or you could jam, but when my opponent goes slightly more than he usually goes pre-flop, I got a little wary and decided to just call this time. It's close. You could do either one, but I decided to just call. You could also make the argument that if he's putting more chips out there to raise and then he's just going to fold to your jam, that it incentivizes you to jam more often, but we're going to leave that debate for now. Big blind comes along as well, so all 3 of us see the queen, queen, 7 rainbow flop. There's one little spade out there just in case for backup. And the big blind starts out with a check. The preflop raiser also checks to me now. And so with this holding, even though we're 3 ways, this is a very vulnerable pair and I could get called by worse potentially. So I decide to put out a bet for protection 3 ways, get some of those overcards to fold right away on the flop. So I make it 3,500 to go. Unfortunately, both opponents make the call. Huge red flag. This is not looking good. The turn is a 9 of spades, so we do pick up a backdoor flush draw. Both guys check to me again. I'm definitely going to check back. I've got good showdown value, and I can pick up a flush if I'm not ahead right this minute, which I don't think I am anymore. The river is the 8 of diamonds. Big blind checks again. Hijack checks again. Honestly, at this point, there's no need to bet. I check it back, and we are in third place, y'all. Big blind, flop the goods. He has queen jack offsuit. Hijack claimed he had pocket kings and then showed us by flipping it over. So good thing we didn't shove pre-flop. We would have ran right into the kings. I really actually like how I played this because I could just put out a tiny bet on the flop and buy myself 2 free cards essentially. So even though I lost the pot, I still really like how I played it. So now I'm down to a all in or fold stack. We've only got 10 blinds and it folds all the way around to me in the small blind, and I look down at ace 4 offsuit. Any ace in the small is good enough to go with. So I say I'm all in. The big blind sweats his card one at a time. And after seeing his second card, he happily puts in the money, and we see we're up against king, queen of diamonds. So we're ahead by a little bit. And the flop comes out, jack, 10, 7, 2 spades. We're still ahead, but he flops 4 extra outs here. And the turn brings one of those outs. He turns me dead with the 9 of hearts on the turn. The river is inconsequential. We are out of the tournament. Not to be today, you guys, but the fields are really good. So if you're going to be in Vegas next couple of weeks, come on down to the Wynn. Very friendly game. Wasn't meant to be today, you guys, but we will get them next time. Until then, good luck at the table, subscribe to the channel, and I hope I see you guys at the meetup game. Bye. Well, today I'm taking you on a tour of Paris and the Horseshoe Casino to get you guys all hyped up for the World Series of Poker. I'm gonna show you guys what's new, where to eat, what to do when you're not playing poker. So let's go check it out.